Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I've been alchemizing within myself and also reflecting on a lot, and that is the patterns and wounds that keep showing up in my life. And my intention for talking about this particular subject is that it reaches somebody who's trying to understand their patterns and somebody who's really struggling to understand why a certain pattern keeps coming up and keeps showing up, right? Because if you're the type of person who's on your healing journey, you're on your spiritual journey, you've chosen expansion, you want to heal, of course, you want to overcome that pattern and become the best version of yourself, right? But sometimes you can kind of feel like you're stuck in a loop, not understanding why you're not getting over. And I'm going to explain like the getting over because you can never really get over getting over a particular pattern, right? I'm going to use examples to show how you can start to think about these patterns differently in order for you to alchemize them and then embody the version of you that you want to become, right? The reason why a pattern keeps showing up is because you have not accepted it within yourself. Literally, the only thing your pattern wants is to be loved and accepted and acknowledged. Literally, that is the only thing. Because once you do that, it loses power, it stops screaming, right? Think of your pattern as a toddler, right, who's seeking attention. The toddler is seeking attention because of a particular reason, right? Maybe they're feeling not seen, they're feeling not loved, right? So what do? They throw tantrums, right? Because they're trying to seek your attention. And the more you ignore them, the more they keep screaming, right? And sometimes maybe they don't scream, maybe sometimes they just go and retreat to themselves, right? But it doesn't mean that when they retreat to themselves that they feel loved, that the need has been met, right? It just means that they shut themselves down, right? But their need hasn't been met. The need to be loved and be seen hasn't been met. It's just that they felt like they were ignored and they just retreated. Or some kids will keep screaming and keep throwing tantrums until you see them, until you give them the love that they need, right? You see, like in both cases, in order for them to feel loved and seen, you have to give them their attention. You have to acknowledge that they're trying to seek your attention and you have to see them and give them the love that they are seeking, right? In order for them to stop screaming and calm down and feel regulated, right? That is literally the same thing with a pattern, right? So, for example, within myself, I'm trying to embody this person that wants to self express and doesn't care how many likes I get, how many views I get, how many comments I get. Like, there's a higher part of me that's like, okay, what the deep desire that you have within is to self-express, right? Regardless of the outcome, right? My intention is to self-express, and whoever this expression inspires, I've done what I wanted to do, right? I don't care about the comments, I don't care about the likes, I don't care about the views, right? That is the higher self of me, like just expressing for the sake of it, right? You see, that is coming from a higher perspective, right? But it doesn't mean that like when I set that intention, that's just going to be smooth and I'm not going to face any internal conflict, right? When I set that intention, there's a part of me, there's a little part of me, inner child part of me, that actually has a different agenda than I as a higher self has, right? So I don't know if any of you is familiar with internal family systems. And this is just a system that talks about like we as people, we have different parts of us and they have different agendas, right? Think of fear, think of judgment, think of perfectionism. They're all part of you and they have a different agenda than you have as you, like adult higher self, you, right? I'm going to go back to the example that I was providing, the example of me wanting to express for the sake of that, right? That's higher me, that's me who's conscious and aware, wanting to do that for that goal, right? But there's a part of me that has a different agenda, and that agenda is okay, like if you're not getting likes or you're not getting comments or you're not getting views, X number of views, then it means that you're not worthy, right? Or what you're saying is not important, right? In order for that part of me to feel that what I'm saying is important, to feel that it's worthy, to feel like it's loved, is for me to get X number of views, for me to get X number of likes, for me to get X number of comments, right? So you see, these two parts are like kind of in conflict, and your job is to bring harmony with these two parts, bring coherence with these two parts, because they're both part of you, right? None of them is higher than the other or lesser than the other. They're both part of you. And the work is to really bring harmony between these two. Because if you reject this part of you, that's trying to have this agenda, you're self rejecting, right? Even though, yes, you like to see yourself as this person who doesn't care about the views, doesn't care about the likes, doesn't care about whatever, they just want to express for the sake of it, right? Even if that's how you want to identify, if you don't love this part of you that has a different agenda, you're really rejecting yourself. So the work is to really love that part of you, right? So when you, as the person who wants to self-express, you set an intention, you're like, okay, I'm just going to express myself. But then throughout the day, you find yourself checking the comments, just checking to see how many likes you have, checking to see how many views you like, right? Even though, yes, you had set an intention to self-express, you find yourself doing that, it's because there's a part of you that cares about that, that has a different agenda than you and the intention that you had set, right? You see that, and then you start maybe judging yourself or shaming yourself for like caring about that, even when you had set this intention. You see, so when you judge and shame that part of you that cares, you're self-rejecting, and that doesn't get rid of the pattern of you wanting to overcome this thing, right? It doesn't get rid of it. It only becomes louder. Like I was saying earlier, like a toddler, if you don't meet their need, they're going to become louder or just retreat into the shadows, right? So you actually have to meet the need of this part of you that's wanting to seek that attention, that's wanting to have the likes and comments and views. You have to meet the need. And when I say the need is to actually understand, like, why is that something you want for us? Why do you care about getting the likes? Why do you care about getting the comments? Why do you care about getting the views? Like, it has to tell you why that is important, right? Because it is benevolent, even though, yes, it's sort of like has a different agenda than you, right? And the agenda you had set, it's really not dangerous, it's not harmful, it is benevolent, it has good intentions. Maybe it wants you to become an authority in whatever you're trying to express, right? Maybe that is the agenda that it has. So as you can see, it's not a bad agenda, right? You have to listen to it and understand what it's trying to achieve, right? And once you understand that, then you can let it know that yes, I understand what you're trying to do, but I'm telling you that, like, it is okay. I'm not gonna get rid of you. You're part of me. I'm gonna love you, even when we don't get the likes, even when we don't get the comments, even when we don't get the views. I'm still going to love you. We are okay. Like, you really have to acknowledge it, right? And then when you do that work of acknowledging this part of you, then it stops being loud. The same way the toddler stops being loud and stops seeking attention when you acknowledge and love your toddler. But you cannot embody what you want to embody when you're ignoring this part of you, right? So that is what shadow work is all about: loving parts of you, making sure that you're integrating all of these parts of you, because you are a whole person. And being a whole person means that you have parts of you that have different agendas, and the work is really bringing harmony and bringing coherence among like all the parts of you, right? So I hope this video makes you think of your patterns differently and start to see them as part of you, and start to see that, like, the goal is not to eliminate your patterns, but is to accept them and allow them to exist within you without judgment. I hope this video resonates with you or inspires you. And if it does, leave a comment down below like and subscribe to this channel for more content like this.